Hello and welcome to Tallinn in Estonia. It is the centre point between Northern, Eastern and Western Europe for hundreds of years. This city has been a meeting point where people come to trade and exchange ideas on art and science. And in the 21st century, that means skateboarding and BMX. In the depths of winter, Tallinn hosts the biggest skateboarding and BMX contest on the calendar. This is Simple Session 2019. We are about to undergo two huge contests, the first of which is Bmx Street, then it's Bmx Park. And joining me to make sense of all of the action is one of the most stylish men ever to throw his leg over a BMX, Mr. Chris Doyle.
Well, thank you so much, Ed. I am super excited to be back here with you, Tallinn, Estonia, Simple Session 2019. It's going to be a good day, man.
We're kicking off with Bmx Street, always a huge notch on the calendar because it was only introduced 2 years ago. The only man ever to have won it, Garrett Reynolds, isn't here this year. We are going to have a new Simple Session champion.
Well, that's right. And Garrett Reynolds is the most influential street rider in the last decade, so his presence is definitely missed here at Simple Session. But I can't help but to feel a little bit excited to know that we're going to see a new face on the top of that podium here in Bmx Street.
And there is a massive, it's a very, very diverse field, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We got riders from all over the world, all different backgrounds. They're coming here, descending upon the Saku Arena to be here as a part of this street contest. It's going to be really fun. We got an eclectic bunch. It's going to be an awesome contest.
Okay, join us right after this. We are going to be back with Bmx Street Finals. That is followed by Bmx Park Finals. See you in a second. The Saku Arena is building its atmosphere. It's almost at capacity. The riders are being introduced out on the floor there, and they're starting to make some noise because they know what is coming up over the course of the next 3 hours. We are kicking off with Bmx Street, then we'll go straight into Bmx Park. Chris, let's start with Bmx Street. We cut down nearly 60 riders to just 12 yesterday in qualifiers, and the top 3 were nothing short of breathtaking.
Oh yeah, the contest certainly did not disappoint. We had Courage Adams coming out, showing you that precision, showing you the balance, showing you the tricks that he's got. He's a real big threat to that top spot. In second place, we had Felix Brennan. He came in with a lot of creativity. He had so many unique lines on the course. Check this out, 180 onto the wedge, 180 tail whip off. Check out the way he uses the rails, 180 hard way off that double peg. Check this out, double peg, 450 out, clean as you like.
You were talking about that earlier, so difficult.
Yeah, and then of course our first place qualifier, Matt Ray. Matt just made everything look so easy, so simple. Check this out, truck driver up that, bar catch, bar 360 to fakie. And look at him, he just looks so casual. Check this out, 360 tail up to fakie at the end of his run. It's so hard to do that type of stuff when you're tired like that.
Okay, there was some very impressive riding, and Matt Ray did end up on top, but he's the man with the target on his back when the finals start. Tuliyev Stigneyev, our courtside reporter, is with Matt Ray now.
So I'm here with Matt Ray. Matt, you qualified first, which means you're dropping in last. Do you think it's a disadvantage or an advantage in the competition?
I think it's both. It really just depends how I handle it, because the pressure is definitely on me, but it gives me the advantage to see what people do, kind of decide like how hard I should go or what I should do. So I think it's a benefit for sure. It's good.
So what is your strategy for the run? Are you going to stick to the same run you had in the qualies, or are you going to change it up a little bit?
I think I'll do kind of the same stuff, maybe add a few tricks, change a few things, but we'll have to see. You never know, because I could mess something up and then have to do something else, so we'll see what happens.
Well, we've been rooting for you, and yeah, good luck in the finals.
Cool, thank you so much. Cool.
Matt Ray looking very, very relaxed there.
Yeah, absolutely. And in addition to that, those top 3 guys, you got to watch out for the rest of our field. Watch out for a guy like Lewis Mills, a guy that actually beat Garrett Reynolds in a professional competition just earlier this year. And of course, we got to watch out for someone like Brock Rayford as well. He's nursing a sore knee. He just got off knee surgery, but he's here and he's hungry and he's ready to rip. Now, and keep in mind, like I said, Lewis Mills and Brock both have what it takes to pull out a big win, maybe even an upset here.
Well, we saw it in qualifiers. The scores are so close. There is the opportunity for anyone to jump from the back of the pack right up to the top spots. One man who can definitely do that is the upstate New York rider, Mark Burnett. I caught up with him a little bit earlier in the week. So we're going to take a look now at Lewis Mills. Just take a look at some of the highlights from qualifiers from him.
It's an absolute honor sharing the microphone duties with none other than Mr. Darren Now.
Okay, we're going to go and see Mark Burnett's highlights. I apologise.
Thank you very much, Simple Session.
So these are the highlights from Mark's run in 2018 Simple Session. Then you got the Summer Session 2018 where he came back again. This kid loves Estonia. Put down a couple of video parts with Jiri Blabol, the Czech rider. He's been doing a little bit of an exchange program with Eastern Europe, hasn't he?
Yeah, he spent some time out in New York with those guys, traveling around with the Shadow team, and you're going to see some of that veteran experience that's rubbed off on Yuri here in the street final today.
Okay, we're going to go over now. I did catch up with Mark Burnett earlier in the week, and this is what I found out.
So show your respect for Tom.
Hey, I'm Mark Burnett. I'm from upstate New York. I'm 20 years old, and I'm here at Simple Session.
What's your favorite element of Simple Session? What keeps bringing you back here?
I mean, probably just the camaraderie, because there's a few places in the world where you can kind of get everybody together and feel like you're free still. That's probably the most conducive environment for growth and for friendly competition.
Having that street element, splitting it up, has that changed the competition for you?
Yeah, and I quite like it actually, because it does give us street guys, if you will, a platform not only to showcase what we can do, but also be judged accordingly on it.
Do you not get that feeling, though, from Simple Session especially, that the crowd are pretty well educated?
Yeah, they do a really good job. I can't stress enough, like, here more than pretty much anywhere else, like, you will get cheers for doing a full cab over a rail or something, which is baffling to me that they even have the beginningest of an inkling at what's going on. And it's actually pretty cool, yeah.
It's such a melting pot here. Do you take a lot away from riding Simple Session in terms of style and ideas for tricks?
BMX is what I love, right? So I pretty much spend all of my days studying everything in the world, whether it's art, music, other bike riders, skateboarders, anything that you can draw influence from. And craft a style that is not only your own, but one that you're proud of.
Coming back to Simple Session, how has the course changed? What are your favourite parts of it?
Anything that's a little bit weird, a little bit obscure, those are the things that I find joy in riding. Something that you don't just do the trick on, the obstacle is the trick. But yeah, anything that's just not really meant to be ridden, that's just a street rider's mentality, right? You just want to ride things that nobody really wants you to ride. And you're gonna do it anyway.
Well, he was talking about the course there, and we're going to get to that very quickly. But once we've seen the riders, the next thing to talk about is always the comp format. Now, it's changed slightly from last year, Chris.
Yeah, this year it's 2 runs, best 1 run counts. These guys have 1 minute on the course for each run, and it's judged on a points scale from 0 to 100. Pretty simple, but these guys are aiming just for that 1 solid run, 2 to make it true.
It puts a lot of pressure on them. I mean, qualifiers ran the same way, but there isn't that same jam format or the looser program that you get if you have 3 runs and the best 2 count. This is do or die from the off.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this is do or die. You got to get that one good score, and you have 2 chances to make it happen. I know a lot of these guys are really excited about that because 3 runs was getting them a little bit too tired, and they really couldn't focus on what they wanted to do. So I think we are in store for a really great contest here because all these guys need is that 1 run. They need 1 minute of fury.
Well, we always talk about the star of the show here, and yeah, it does turn out to be the winner on a lot of occasions, but as it builds up, we're always looking at the course. That is what everyone looks forward to, and we sent out Felix Prangenberg and Daniel Dares to take a closer look at it.
Hi, I'm Daniel Dares. I'm here with Felix, last name?
Prangenberg.
And we're here at Simple Session. We're gonna explain you guys a few of the obstacles on this year's course.
Personally, that's my favorite Simple Session course so far. You can get creative at so many parts, and yeah, I really like it. Right behind us is one of my favorite obstacles. It's like a step up and ledges on the both sides, so you can like grind up it or do something up it or down.
For the park guys, like we're using it to go up, to get speed, to do the transfer back there or coming back. So it's gonna be very interesting to see what people can do up and down. So behind me, we have the box jump. It's a very standard feature in most courses, but Simple Session added its own twist and put a little hole in the middle, so it makes the jump look crazy when you're in the air.
That's the A-frame rail. It's pretty good for all kind of grind tricks or like rail hops. The upper bang is like shorter, so you can go over the rail, do like 360 rail hops and stuff.
I think I might skip the rail on my run, but it's actually a super fun obstacle to watch the street riders use because it gives you so many options. We have the Visit Estonia feature, which is the spine, the 8 or 10 foot quarter, and the little bank. This feature is connecting most of the whole park. So I'm very excited to watch people ride it this weekend. Simple Session has that magic where they are able to blend those obstacles with a lot of other crazy stuff, and that's what makes Simple Session unique.
Well, that is what Nate Wessel works his entire year on perfecting, is making sure that this course has all of those little idiosyncrasies, the puzzle, if you like, that you have to unlock.
Nathan Wessel never disappoints. This course is built for creativity, originality, and built for the big tricks that we've come to expect from Simple Session.
Okay, you look at this course. I've watched you looking at it. As soon as you get here and you see it, you're like, oh, maybe that line of work, I could suggest that to him. What's really speaking to you from this course at the moment?
Well, me personally, I like the Visit Estonia spine and quarter pipe option. I like the lines into and out of it. It's really interesting to see how each rider interprets that area of the course. I think that is going to be a really important part of the course in the judges' eyes as well.
Okay, that's what Chris Doyle thinks. If you want to join in the conversation, you can using the hashtag Simple Session. Any questions, any advice, any pointers you've got, send them all in. We'll do our best to answer them during the broadcast. We'll be watching all of the channels. Right now, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have Bmx Street Finals. 12 men, 2 runs. See you then. So there is that behemoth of a course, absolutely vast. And we've seen some interesting corners of it used in the street qualifiers. Now it's time for finals, and we're going to kick off with one of Russia's finest, Max Chuprina, out of Krasnoyarsk, now living in Moscow. He's been a simple session regular for years. Been a cornerstone of the Russian BMX scene as well. He's developed his riding in some of, I'd say, some of the least known cities on earth for BMX, the likes of Vladivostok and some of the corners. I think Novosibirsk and Novokuznetsk in the depths of Siberia have seen his tires on occasion.
Those are two places that I've never heard of until just now. Thanks a lot, Ed, for that geography education.
So, 12 riders. Max Chuprina is going to kick it off, and as you said, this format means that he's got to throw down. He's got to find some consistency on this first run, so that he has the freedom to build and really put something special together in his second run.
It is never easy being the first guy to drop in at a contest. Pretty much every score that happens after this is based on his score. So really, he's got to throw down super hard. This has to be a good run for Max. But you know what? Max is so consistent with some very difficult tricks. Check that out. That's 180 hard way bar spin, and he's keeping it going, showing you the tail whip in, just reverting it around. Great way to start a run. Tail whip on the wedge. It's like I said, he's really consistent. We saw him in Latvia. He was one of our finalists there as well. Showing you the flair, showing you he's got the park tricks as well as the street tricks. There's that truck driver.
How does that measure up? I mean, are the judges still looking for park tricks in a street comp?
Well, not necessarily, but it can't hurt.
Right. Well, essentially it's burning time. But it does, like you say, it proves a little bit of flow and it keeps the speed moving.
Well, yeah, he's got to turn around anyway, so hey, why not do a flare? Check that out, hard way, 180 bars, keeps it going backwards. Bar spin on that Red Bull quarter. 180 bars down, the Euro gap, pulls it back around. Has not touched the ground once with his feet. And again, he's a consistent finalist here at Simple Session. This is not the first time we're seeing Max.
I tell you what, we are seeing that run is almost a carbon copy in some senses of Grayson Fletcher's run in the skate finals earlier, where he threw down first run, was an incredibly high score and immediately became the benchmark. You said he needed a big score, he needed a big ride to open this, and he's done exactly that.
Yeah, check out that hard way, 180 bars, pulling away from that rail, keeps it going backwards, and then check this out, revert, tail whip, right back into the wedge, keeps it going. Showing you the flare on the quarter pipe. Again, he had to turn around, so why not do a flare?
Yeah, why not?
Tail whip over the wedge. I mean, it was a great run. He's going a little bit slow. It's not as exciting and as showy, but you know, he has another run. He'll come back and lay another one down for us.
Well, Chuprina made finals in 2017, ended up in 6th. Made finals last year and ended up in 9th. I think that's a pretty solid run, and it's far too early to say where he's going to end up, but he hasn't done himself any harm with 1 minute of very, very high quality riding there.
Also a finalist at the Simple Summer Session in Latvia. So you can see he's got the consistency. It's always good to be in the finals. That's what you really want to do. When you come to a contest like this, your main objective is just to make the finals first, and then you send it when you get to the finals.
The great and the good of Bmx Street lined up behind Max Chuprina there. And Bart de Jong up there in the brown cap, head judge, discussing this with all of the other judges, making sure they're all on board with what he's thinking and what he's seen. Reed Stark didn't make finals. Very, very disappointing. Had a really clean run. It wasn't technical enough, was it?
Yeah, you know, I think he might have been using the ramps a little bit too much. His run looked more like a park run in a lot of ways than a street run.
Well, that is almost as predictable as they get, 75.4. It's that's pretty much your standard. You've landed a run. Let's put you slap bang in between 50 and 100.
That's the middle of the road right there. And you know what? I think the judges really like that. You get a clean, consistent run to start things off, and now you can kind of build on that, on what he did, on what Max did.
Okay, there's our start list. Matt Ray will get to go last. Next rider in is going to be Lewis Mills, though. The young Australian is the prodigy of Garrett Reynolds, the man who has won this contest for the last 2 years. He hasn't turned up this year. Will his prodigy take his crown?
Well, Lewis Mills certainly could do that. He got a silver medal at the Australian X Games just this past year. So he knows what it takes. And keep in mind, Garrett Reynolds got third at that contest. So he's beat Garrett Reynolds in a fair competition before. So Lewis Mills has the skills. He has the consistency. He has the style. He looks good on his bike. The judges really like him.
Tell you what, there's a bit of rhyming in there, Chris. You could be a rapper.
I appreciate that. I'll keep my day job for now. Thank you.
Justin Spree actually rates him as one of the most talented up-and-comers, and I have just put the curse of the commentator on him. But Lewis Mills has proved himself, and then some in 2018.
Well, yeah, we saw that bar spin, the crank arm grind he just did. He's bobbled a few things already, so when you miss a beat, you lose the rhythm. It's hard to get back into the flow of things. Once you miss one or two things, it's hard to pick up the pieces and really get back going again. So he kind of knows that this run's going to be a wash. He's just kind of coasting around, letting the bike fly. And pretty uncharacteristic of Lewis Mills, actually, because he's very consistent, typically.
Okay, so run one is a scratch for Lewis Mills.
And the beauty of that, he puts himself in the pressure cooker to get that big second run score now.
Max Ciprinia getting left hanging there badly by Lewis Mills.
What a thing for our cameras to catch.
Oh, Max, I feel for you.
He was trying to go bar spin into the double peg, accidentally landed feeble, and then he had to drop down. So you miss your first trick, and it's hard just to get going again.
That bar spin to crank arm slide, lovely. Lovely style. It's always the danger I find with BMX Street when you've got someone with that much style that they're making stuff look too easy.
Yeah, sometimes they call that the Joey Garcia syndrome. Because Joey Garcia from back in the day would always just make everything look so easy, and he was never getting really those scores that you wanted. And everyone's like, hey, you got to make it look like you're actually trying. So I always thought that was funny. Whenever I see someone that makes things look too easy, I'm like, oh, that's the Joey Garcia syndrome.
Okay, we can go down now to Thule, who's with Lewis Mills.
Lewis, so, you know, the other riders have been calling you the current legend, but you're like the new generation rider. What do you take on that?
I don't know, I'm just trying to make it happen over here. Not really asking for the titles, but yeah.
So are you going to give it your all in your second run?
Oh, definitely. The first run was a bit disappointing. Didn't really do anything I was planned to do, but hopefully the second run works out.
Well, we'll be rooting for you, so good luck on the second run.
Thank you.
Okay, so Lewis Mills, no surprises there. All the pressure on the second run. You can see Bruno Hoffman, Mark Burnett, Felix Prangenberg, AK, Alex Kennedy, and Brock Rayford all lined up along there. Lewis Mills making his way back up onto the platform. Now it's the turn of Jiri Blabol, guy who spent most of this summer just gone, 2018, in New York, and it seems to have paid off in his riding.
Yeah, absolutely. I talked to him when we were in Latvia for the Simple Summer session, and he was just glowing, and he was buzzing about his trip to New York, and he was telling me how fun it was and what they got to ride and everything. So it's really great to have Jerry back at the Simple session. Watch the bars. See if you can count how many times he does his bar spins, because he loves to throw the bars. That was an opposite bar, catch bar, and you can usually tell by their body language whether it's opposite or regular. There's the double bar spin drop in. That was his regular direction. Oh, double peg up, opposite tail whip, and then a regular tail whip, showing that he can do it both directions.
He's using the bar spin like a multiplier on a pinball machine, isn't he? He's just cranking up those points.
And you just saw him do the hard 360 out of that flat rail. When I say he's pulling hard way, he's pulling his bike and body away from the rail. The quote-unquote easy way would be go into the rail.
Okay, so Blabol clean for the first 45, and then he drops it.
And once again, Ed jinxes him as he says he's riding so clean.
I'm gonna stop claiming anything for anyone now.
Check out the 180 tail up over the wedge. Easy as you like.
The buzzer, and that is in time, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hear it one more time.
Well, he did that after the buzzer, the slam right there, so I don't think that's going to hurt him too much. He did have one step off, but I think that's going to be a really good score.
Solid score, but it's another excuse for the judges. We know that we're going to see some really big, really clean runs, so the judges have got to leave themselves some space.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's that bar catch bar. That's opposite. And check this out. Up double peg, opposite tail whip. Check this out. Hard way 360. Remember, he's pulling away from that rail out of that double peg.
So danger that if the peg slips at all or he pulls too hard, then he loses his pop.
Yeah, it's very easy to lose your pop on a hard way 360 like that. And a lot of times your back wheel will catch the rail as you're trying to pull away from it. And he's removed the chain from around his neck just there.
Okay, Achim Kujalski, German technician in the middle of the judges pack there. So Jerry Blabel, little seat adjustment while the scores come in, 66.2.
Well, I'm so thankful that I'm not a judge because I would have judged that a little bit differently, but the judges, you see how many points they're deducting when you step off like that.
Okay, next in, Alex Kennedy from Croydon.
Man, Alex Kennedy is just a tech
Every year
wizard.
I come, it gets better and better, and it's always new people coming and progressing riding. So I really just love how the course flows this year. The speed, it's easy to keep your speed and just sets you up perfect for everything.
So Alex Kennedy, 29 years old, one of the smoothest styles in the game, AKA AK. He's just known by his initials. Super into his health, like does a lot of meditation, yoga, uses supplements, extracts, organic food.
Yeah, he's got a very healthy lifestyle, and for Alex Kennedy, creativity is the name of the game. Originality, creativity. He's got some of the coolest tricks in all of street riding right now. Showing you that double peg. I would check out the toboggan, landing Smith down the ledge. Loves a good toboggan. Double peg up and over. Lots of speed. Gapping up, double peg on the spine. Showing he's got the park skills too. Which it's kind of rare for a guy like Alex Kennedy to be seen on riding a spine and some quarter pipes. He's usually just a total street dog. 360X up over our dig volcano, up on the catwalk. Check that out. Feeble downside ice pick from the fast plant. Oh, really cool original lines. Like I said, for him, creativity is the name of the game.
Well, it's a rarity even to see him in competition, I would think. Like, he's not a big comp dog, so to see him come out here, put his riding under the watchful eye of the judges is a real treat.
Yeah, this certainly is not his first Simple Session. He loves coming to these things. He loves putting on for the Simple Session crowd and really showing the creativity that we're talking about. There's that toboggan to Smith. There's that big gap up to the spine, double peg grind. I'm not sure how the judges are going to judge that, but that was a solid run. I mean, he didn't really bobble too much, and I really love what he did up that catwalk. It was a feeble downside fast plant to ice pick, showing you the 180 toboggan out of that catwalk, and then this hard way 180 out of the double peg. It was a clean run for Alex Kennedy once again.
Okay, we'll see what the judges make of it. At the moment, the top score to beat is 75.4, and Alex Kennedy moves in with a 76. So judged just above Max Chuprina of Russia. Now, here we go. Justin Spreen rocking the Parks and Recreation moustache there. No mistaking who's in charge of this course.
Justin Spreen comes from a BMX family. His father rides BMX. I've actually had many sessions with his father, maybe more so than I've had with Justin, but Justin is a jack of all trades. He can ride trails, he can ride parks, and of course, as we're about to see, he can ride street. Going up crooked, 180 bar out. He's another guy, he makes things look really easy. Never really looks like he's trying too hard. There's that 180 crooks, 180 out bar spin. When I say crooks, I mean it's a crooked grind. One peg is on one side of the rail, the other peg is on the other side. Oh, hard way, 180 crooked grind down the rail, kind of the opposite way from what he did it before. He likes the backwards grinds, doesn't he? Showing you that 180 to feeble. And he's doing things on both sides of the bike. You're going to hear me talk about opposite and regular a lot. That means when I say he's doing the opposite, it's usually on the other side of his bike or he's spinning in the other direction.
He's also a goofy footer, though, in terms of spinning, isn't he?
I believe he is, which makes my job even all that much more difficult.
Yeah, you really got to keep an eye on it. Oh, it's the first time I've seen one. Double pegger all the way through the A-frame. Really clean run for the kid from Murrieta, California. Todd Spreet, no doubt, will be watching, and I imagine he'll be filled with pride watching that.
Oh, yeah, of course. It looked like he wanted a little bit more out of that A-frame grind. But check it out, the crooked grind up, 180 bars out. There's that 180 crooked grind, bringing it back around with the bar spin.
I get the feeling as well, in comparison to Alex Kennedy and Max Ciprinia, he had a really high work rate, just in terms, like the technicality was right up there, it was clean, but he also, I think he put more tricks in, there was more bounce to the ounce.
Yeah, I mean, and you got to utilize that full minute. I mean, you got to use every second that you can. So, yeah, it's all about getting as many tricks as you can in that 1 minute run.
That is a fantastic moustache, though. 82.4 for Justin Spreet. First place for the Californian. So, the pressure is now on. 5 riders gone, 7 still to drop in the Bmx Street final. Next guy in is the Wunderkind from France, Anthony Perrin. Burst onto the scene back in 2012 with a couple of really impressive flatland edits, but he's been pushing street harder and harder of late.
He's a really, really great street rider. I know that he gets a little bit nervous in competition, so we'll see if he can shake those nerves and really put together a solid run. Showing you the 180 up. Nice and steezy 180.
Yeah, when you talk about comp nerves, I always think if you can get that first trick out of the way, then you can settle down instantly.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So he's got a couple tricks under his belt already. So he's up and running, and you'll watch the way this confidence builds. Big 360 over that sub and into the wedge. First guy we've seen do that line so far.
So the kid from Tarare, just outside Lyon in France.
Showing you toothpick grinds going on both sides of the bike yet again.
8th last year, so he made finals again last year, but it's the problem. I think it's especially with something like flatland, when you come from that side of the sport, and actually we've seen it in all of the street guys, perfection is the only thing that's acceptable in the runs.
Especially in a competition format that's going to be this strict. I mean, you got to stomp your run. You got to be consistent. You have to land those tricks. And unfortunately, he bobbled a few times. I don't think that's going to take top honors, but it's a good first run for Anthony Perrin.
Well, it'd be interesting. We'll get an idea now of how much a fall, or not a fall, but a bail. I think it's through here. He just drops the foot on the second one of these.
Yeah,
love that.
Nose up, tooth hanger, down the A-frame.
So, Bart de Jong.
Taking a look at our judges. There's Brian Kaczynski right there, one of the gnarliest street riders in the game, still doing it.
So the crowd just warming up slowly. Can see themselves on the Jumbotron. Giving it a little wave. Nervous wave for Anthony Perrin. See what we get. Judges are definitely done. It means the score's getting punched in. 71.4, so 4th place. The foot cost him, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can see how strict the judges are being right now as well.
Okay, let's take a look at the standings after our first 6 riders. Justin Spreet, 82.4. Alex Kennedy, very clean run just behind. And then we had that benchmark run from Max Ciprinia. Lewis Mills, really disappointing run from him, and all the pressure is on for the second run. Next rider in is the German, who came in 2nd last year, Bruno Hoffman.
Frankfurt in Germany, one of the tech exports Germany has to offer.
And you always meet a lot of friends from all over the world, and it's just like a good come together in a cool city, in a cool country. Yeah, it really pushes you because you know that qualifying is almost harder than finals because everyone is just going for it. So I would say that qualifying is like almost the hardest part.
So Bruno Hoffman, always known for his power, his ability to blend style and flow with the technical tricks that he's capable of.
It's so awesome to see Bruno out here still doing it. And I say still doing it just because I've known him since he was a little kid. I met him in Berlin, Germany, so long ago, and he was only like 13, 14 years old at the time. But he's like the cleanest, most consistent guy with the rollbacks. And you're gonna notice him doing a lot of things on both sides of the bike. Remember what I said, opposite sides of the bike, opposite spins. He's the master of doing stuff on both sides of the bike and landing fakie as well. Showing you that 180 crooked grind. Oh, check that out. He went regular pegs over the rail to his opposite pegs, and he's the first guy we've seen really touch that rail so far. Pole jam 360 on up. He's got a clean run going. And Bruno's one of those guys, too, where the more tricks he pulls, the more comfortable he gets, so it kind of builds. His run gets better and better and better.
And this is the kind of run you want to see him having this early on. Oh,
yeah.
Because it frees him up for that second run.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you get a good first run, you're so relaxed on that second run. You can play around a little bit, maybe take a little bit more chances. Good run from Bruno Hoffman. And it doesn't look like these guys are moving very fast. It doesn't look like they're trying very hard, but trust me, this is exhausting.
Well, they're not using the ramps to generate the height anywhere. Like, you're yanking this bike around. You've got to place it.
Yeah, and it's not all about strength. There's a lot of form and technique that goes into getting that bike off the ground. Check this out. Crooked grind, going hard way, 180 out. And it's amazing to me that the judges know what's regular, they know what's opposite, and they're able to put that into their scores.
So Daryl now was up there, the walking encyclopedia of BMX information. Today he's walking around in flares and I'd call it a lemon pie or a lemon cheesecake ruffled shirt. It looks fantastic. Next in, Brock Rayford, 24-year-old. So powerful. One of those riders who's an absolute joy to watch. So you can see he's got the smile on his face.
Well, Brock was one of the guys that I've been talking about all weekend. I'm super excited that he's here. He's coming off of a knee surgery. He had ACL and meniscus surgery. He's been rehabbing that knee. He's been trying to get it stronger. And he said this was his motivation, to be able to get back and ride this contest. He's been on our podium before in the past, and I'm sure he'd love to be up there again today.
I've seen that he pulled that trick out last year. It's one of those ones that you get on replay every time you watch a simple session edit.
And you just saw him do a huge gap up and over that sub right there into the wedge. It looked like he wanted a little bit more, maybe a bar spin or a tail whip. And he's got one of the best hardway 360s out of rails that I've ever seen. Brock Rayford and Dan Lacey have that trick on lock. Oh, and he's trying to go back up into the ramp, showing you that up, double tire across the spine. Looked like he wanted to bar in out of that.
And it is literally tires width, because if you get outside that tire width, you're on the coping, so it's going to start getting really slippery.
Right. And we just saw all that pop that Brock has, because he went from flat to the rail. Check that out. Double peg pulling over hardway 360. We saw him do that in qualifying, but he did it after the buzzer in qualifying, so I think it hurt his score a little bit.
Well, it was pretty close here as well. It'll be interesting to see if he managed to squeeze it in this time. But Brock Rayford collects his hat and potentially a very big score.
There's that tooth over tooth. Back to that regular side. They're showing him hitting the ramp. Showing you that bar spin. Truck driver fly out. That's from flat. Double peg grind pulling out hard way 180. I love this right here. Double peg pulling back over the rail, hard way 360 out. He's the only guy you're going to see doing that today.
Okay, put your reputation on the line, Chris. Is that the top score?
I would put that as the top.
Yes.
But it's a good thing I'm not a judge. Because as we see, the score coming in 78.6 puts him in 3rd place. But you know what? If he cleans up that run, if he gets everything that he wanted to do originally, if he throws the bars where he wanted to, if he throws the tail where he wanted to, he could really take top honors.
Okay, we saw a little bit on Mark Burnett earlier on, the kid from upstate New York who's talked about he's hydrating with his water. He's talked a lot about riding on his own. The fact that he's grown up the perfect distance from anything good. So no one really wants to come and see him. So he has to travel 3-4 hours to New York, to Boston, to Philly, wherever he's headed to ride. It's a distance. So.
Well, if you follow Mark on Instagram like I do, you'll see that sometimes, I mean, he's just riding in a tennis court and he has a few janky ramp setups and he's just doing the most impressive things you've ever seen. So, yeah, he doesn't have the best stuff to ride around where he lives, but yes, he travels and he kind of makes his own fun around his hometown when he can. Nice pickup. Coming off early in the run, gonna try and recover. But as you and I have seen already, we know how much those falls can affect the score. And I know, I talked to Mark just prior to the contest. We actually had lunch together, and he was telling me that he really wants to do well, and he's more nervous than he usually is for this contest. But he's not a stranger to simple session. He always comes, he always has a good time. It's not our first time seeing him in the final. We saw him down in Latvia as well. And it looks like the nerves are just getting to him a little bit.
Well, he had such a clean qualifying run as well. Really unfortunate. Lost something off the bike there as well. Or he lost his wristband.
Oh, perhaps. Bar spin into that double peg grind on the spine. Oh, and he's out of here.
What? Stuck it as well.
Shunning the autographs, showing you the Smith over the rail.
Wow, that would have been hard on the wrists, I reckon, because it's a solid drop. It's a good 6-7 feet down to the floor there. You can't actually see it. There's a compression at the bottom of that ramp that's lifted. So you have the ramp platform, but then it's another 2 foot when you drop off the back.
That definitely would have hurt my wrist. It would have hurt your wrist. But Mark's a young guy. I'm sure he didn't even feel it.
Okay, let's take a look through these.
Nose to bars over that. Showing you the toe jam, showing you the ramp tricks. He can ride a little bit of everything. I like this, the way he bonks that back tire and sends that 360 over that obstacle. And then this bar spin into a double peg grind. There goes that wristband.
No VIP tonight.
Sorry, Mark. There's that Smith pulling out of the simple session course, showing you the originality, showing you the creativity there.
Well, you talked about this a lot. The idea of finding yourself on a part of the course that no one else has been is good news.
Yeah, if you have an original line, if you have something that not everyone else is doing, that really counts a lot in the judges' eyes.
Okay, well, we saw Alex Kennedy put a bit of a foot down, make 76. It didn't hurt him too badly. Same for Anthony Perrin. He was down on 71.4. So we saw that early foot down. Be interesting to see where Mark Burnett fits in. 74.8, it's good enough for 6th. Thule is down with Mark Burnett now.
You're like a gift that keeps on giving. Did you plan the end of your run or you just went with it?
No, yeah, I planned it. I didn't want to fall on anybody, so I had to make sure there was someone coordinating it. So I kind of had to let the secret out of the bag a little early, but...
So what are you going to do in your second run? Any other big surprises we can wait for?
I don't know, you'll see, but hopefully I just can do everything clean and figure it out.
So there's one person I want to give like a really big shout out to, and that's your mom. Do you want to say something to your mom? I know she's watching.
Of course, I'm going to tell her to hold on because I know she's nervous right now. Try to keep it under wraps, keep it under control because I know she's probably screaming at the television.
Thank you so much. I'm going to keep all my fingers crossed for you in the next run.
Oh, that was nice, wasn't it?
Was Thule blushing a little bit there?
I think so, just a little bit. Okay, next rider up, Courage Adams, and it doesn't seem to matter where he comes in terms of results. He lights people up. There's something about him that really inspires people. He is the person that everyone wants to talk about. So,
Courage recently put out an edit for his shoe sponsor Vans that took the BMX world by storm. It was unbelievable.
Well, his big challenge here is always, well, for all the street riders, is consistency. Qualified with his second run, and you said it was uncharacteristic, dropping his first run. Usually he is the cleanest rider out there.
Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, watch the balance. Look at this. Bar in, out of the nose wheelie. He's got so much precise balance. He's got the most balance in BMX right now, I'm just going to say, besides any flatlanders out there. But just watch the way he does things. He's got so much control over that bike. Showing you that feeble, hard way 360. He's into our bowl section, scrubbing off a little bit of speed there.
Yeah, no brakes, just got to chuck the back end down.
That's right. Crank arm grind up to bar. And I love it. 180 on, using the crank arm pressure. He's not running a free coaster like so many of these other guys. And that's the risk that you take when you're trying those nose wheelie combinations like that. I mean, the back end can go down so easy, or you can go over the bars. He really takes a lot of chances.
But I've seen him make that 3 times in practice. It looked almost robotic.
Look at that. Bar to manual to 360 in our bowl section, the only guy doing that.
How on earth do you generate the rotation of just the back wheel? That's incredible.
Well, I don't know, because he does so many tricks that are like exclusive to Courage Adams. I mean, I just love the way he starts his run. Nose wheelie across the Visit Estonia quarter pipe there, bar spin in. What a way to start things off. Let the judges know that you mean business. Here's that crank arm grind up, bar spin out. And I love this, using just the crank arm pressure, no free coaster on that bike. And
just
this.
Cranked, ready. Oh,
bar.
This is it. Where does the rotation come from?
That's all power. That's all form, technique, and strength from Courage Adams.
So born in Nigeria, raised in Pamplona, lives in Madrid. Courage Adams, one of the most well-respected and arguably best street riders in the world.
Coming in with a 79.1. I mean, again, that was a great run, but we're seeing how strict the judges are being on getting that perfect run.
Okay, next rider in is Felix Prangenberg, qualified in 3rd place. The German has been riding simple session for longer than most. Still looking for a win here.
Felix is a guy, he could come out and really upset the field here with a big win.
Yeah, best position since it's been a dedicated street event was 8th. And I always feel like he's worth a little bit more than that.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, this guy was the Nora Cup Reader's Choice for 2018. So the secret's out. Everyone knows he's a great, great biker. Showing that truck driver down the Euro gap. Look at the speed that he's at. He's going a little bit faster than just about everyone else we've seen so far. Showing you that tooth hanger. There's that double peg, the hard way 360, launching the beanie. Oh, 540 bar spin on a wedge.
Okay, halfway through the run. And he's really starting to turn it up now.
Yeah, he's got a great run going, being really consistent, doing a lot of difficult tricks. Wow.
So often you see the 180s and someone will drift away from the transition, but he actually met that right at the very top.
Yeah, he planned that out so perfect.
Okay.
Bar over the rail.
2 seconds, 1 second.
Okay, this one almost certainly won't count, but he keeps it clean, not a foot down for Felix Prangenberg on his first run. Pretty special.
Right, and you can hear Daryl now talking in the arena. That was a full pull from Felix Prangenberg.
You don't think it was, that wasn't scaled back anywhere for first run. He wanted to set a benchmark score.
That's the run that he probably wanted out of either one of his 2 runs, but now that he's got that one in the bank, what more can we look forward to for the second run? It's only going to get better from here.
We can really start to see him play.
Yeah. 180 on, going backwards, 180 tail up off.
that, the front wheel meeting the transition right at the very top.
Oh yeah, picture perfect.
Okay, so Felix Prangenberg is waiting on what most people expect to be a very good score, and it is enough for first place. 88.2. Felix Prangenberg moves into the lead with just 2 riders left to drop at the Simple Session 19 BMX Street Finals. A couple of shout-outs from the crowd there. So, no Rim Nakamura. Oh no, he's in park. That would help. Got my sheet mixed up there.
You know, I bet Rim could hang.
I bet you could.
But right now the course belongs to Matt Ray. Coming out of Massachusetts, doing it for New England. This is one of those guys, it never looks like he's trying. He does the hardest stuff with the calmest demeanor. First came to Simple Session as a 16-year-old. Did pretty well. Not as well as he would have liked, but look, he's up on the high perch there, and I love the way he comes into his run, the way he drops into it. Check him out right here. There's that 270 bar in to start his run. Already a different line than what we've seen so far from anybody else. And I love the way he does that opposite downside whip on that wedge because he continues going up. Oh my gosh. Bar spin to turn down on the catwalk quarter pipe there. Oh, bar catch bar 180 over the volcano into a flare on virtually just a wedge. Oh man, 180 on, 180 bars out.
Tricks are coming thick and fast in this run.
He makes it look so easy. Bar catch bar 360 coming in fakie. Showing you the Smith grind as well. Bar into the ice. Let's see how he ended up here. 360 tail whip to fakie, and he makes it all look so easy. Tooth hanger, wow.
Desperate to go through the replays on this because, like you say, there are tricks in there, insanely technical tricks that look like he's got them on rails. There's not a doubt in your mind that he's going to make them.
No, it's as if him and the bike are just one and they're just working together in perfect harmony. I mean, that was a full pull. He used every second of that run to his advantage, used the course in a different way than we're used to seeing. Check that out. 270 bar spin in, tail up over the hump right there. And I love how he does these downside opposite tail ups. Watch the way he continues to go up there, whereas a lot of guys are still falling. Bar, catch bar, 180, brings it right around, shows you the flare on the wedge. We're used to seeing that trick on the quarter pipe.
This was the one I was watching. Double bar spin, 360.
Coming in fakie. And it's so risky to go fakie in the middle of a run like that. 360 tail whip to fakie, landing backwards. I mean, at the end of your run, too, where he's super tired. And again, makes it all look so easy.
Okay, so waiting on the score for Matt Ray. Last rider to drop in the first runs. And I think this is going to be a big one. 88.2 to beat. Felix Prangenberg has the top spot at the moment, 83.8. So it's good enough for second for Matt Ray, but he's got to improve on that if he wants to chase down Prangenberg in run 2. So let's take a look at those overall standings. Felix Prangenberg in first, Matt Ray 5 points behind. In second, Justin Spreet poised in third position. Still could attack very, very potently from third place. Down the bottom there, Alex Kennedy and Lewis Mills. I mean, right down the bottom there, all of those riders could push up, but Lewis Mills especially, you'd expect to see him really pouncing up the standings.
Yeah, you know he's going to come back strong with a second run score.
Okay, going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have second runs. Welcome back to Simple Session 19. We're here for Bmx Street. We're going to go into BMX Park in a little while, but we've got second runs still to come in Bmx Street, and that will decide our winner. At the moment, we've got Felix Prangenberg out in front on 88.2, and a surprise score there, for me especially, Chris, 83.8 for Matt Ray. I thought that score was going to be push Prangenberg maybe a little bit more.
Well, my only explanation to that is Felix Prangenberg did a lot more natural style street tricks, whereas we saw Matt Ray doing a lot of ramp tricks. So I think the judges might be just being a little bit strict on that, like stick to the street stuff, stick to the ledges, the wedges, the rails, and not necessarily the quarter pipes.
Don't give in to the temptation of transition.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, you can see all of the boys lining up for second runs there. One of them is Courage Adams at the end there. We can take a look from his perspective with this GoPro run through the course.
Here at Simple Session 2019.
What's up, guys? This is Corey Walsh, and this is the GoPro course preview. Yo, Courage, show us that street course. Thank you.
There was that nose manual that we were looking for and that Courage was looking for on his first run. Unfortunately, we're not going to see Corey Walsh in the park finals later on. I didn't quite make the cut, but Max Ciprina ready to kick us off for our second run in BMX Street here. And he was the score by which everyone else was measured, 75.4. And it's not going to take an awful lot for him to jump up. 5 points will see him go straight into the top 4. So Max Ciprina can definitely do some moves here.
Yeah, and like I keep alluding to, I keep saying that he's very, very consistent. I feel like if he goes a little bit faster, maybe tries a little bit harder, he could really break into that top 5 spot.
Yeah, there's an 80 in there waiting to get out. He just needs to light it up a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, check him out. He's already changed up the run a little bit. He knows he's got a decent score, and he can definitely improve on that, and I think he's going for it right now.
Fakey 540.
Out of the link, out of the rail, he did the hard way, 180 bar spin out of. Check him out, truck driver out of our catwalk. Just eyeing up the rail here. Goes up, there's that double peg, slips the pedals on the tail whip.
And you almost get the feeling, especially with a tail whip like that, his mind's on the next trick already.
Yeah, and like I keep saying, I mean, it's very uncharacteristic of him to like miss a tail whip like that, because he's usually so consistent, usually does not mess up. And you know what, he's probably just tired. It's been a long weekend. Lots of partying going on with the Simple Session crew here. I mean, these guys go hard every single day and every single night.
Okay, so Max Ciprina, Chris Doyle's verdict is that maybe stamina's got the better of him there. Long week at Simple Session has taken its toll. And the Russian certainly had the ability. That was beautiful.
That was a great length. The hard way 180 bars out of the double peg, kept it going backwards, then a 540 into the quarter. Truck driver in off the catwalk. And why do so many of these street riders run mustaches, do you think?
I think it's an aesthetic.
Okay.
It's definitely, I think in certain circles, the moustache is the mark of an artiste.
All right. Well, I was wrong in assuming that Max had a mustache on his face, because it certainly looked like it there for a second. So I apologize, Max.
Yeah, I think Max and Mark Burnett, who you can see both of them there, might fall into the as yet able to grow a moustache category. They're both pretty baby-faced. Here's another man who's not rocking a moustache yet, Lewis Mills. A lot of pressure on this lad now. And it's over before it begins for what Justin Spreet called the brightest young thing in BMX Street at the moment. One of the most talented riders out there, but it's often the case when you get a big result like that silver at X Games in Sydney, all of the publicity, all of the attention those results bring can often weigh pretty heavily on young shoulders, and it takes a bit of time to get comfortable with that and find your feet again. Lewis would have turned up here. It's a big crowd, big stadium arena event, and
yeah, you see him getting the hug from Boyd Hilder, one of his friends back in Australia. And that is, it's strange to see him mess up like that, because in qualifying, he was doing the bar into the double peg and then hard way 180 bar out just every time. And he made it look like clockwork, like it was nothing. But, you know, this won't be his last simple session. He'll be back next year, and I'm sure the years to come. But
he might even, it might be the simple session effect that you were talking about as well. He's learned his lesson this year. Maybe slow down a little bit on Friday, then a little bit more on Saturday night. Jiří Blábal from the Czech Republic dropping in now. He's got a 300 horsepower BMW 3 Series that he loves more than life itself. Almost as much as BMXing, and he's got about the same amount of power watching his riding.
Oh yeah, he's a big kid. I mean, you see his arms, you see his forearms. I mean, he's a tough-looking guy. He's an intimidating-looking guy. When I saw him in Latvia, I was like, wow, who's that guy? But he's actually as nice as can be, and he's a really great bike rider, as you can already see.
Did you say he's got arms like legs?
Yeah, a lot of pop, a lot of power. Loves to do some bar spins, and he can throw a bar spin into or out of just about anything.
Currently in 11th on a 66.2.
Steps off a little bit there, going for that bar to crank arm. Got the chain all fixed up, back around his neck. 180 tail over a tiny wedge. Let's see what he's got. Coming toward the end of his run. There's that ice to hard way 180 out at the end of his run.
Beautiful from Jiří Blábal, but the 1 foot down. We've seen it. I think he can move up. The 66.2 is definitely going to be improved upon.
But yeah, I mean, and I keep saying it, but we're seeing how strict the judges are being on perfection. And speaking of perfection, that up rail to opposite 180 out. There's the hard way 360 out of the double peg. 180 tail over a small wedge. So yeah, you know, in Latvia, I think he was riding at his best. Maybe, you know, being outdoor in the sunshine was helping him a lot, but I mean, it's awesome to have him here at Simple Session here in Estonia.
3rd place at Summer Session. It's its first time out. 73, there you go. 10th place for Jiří Blábal. But 2nd run score, he's not going to move anywhere, and there is the chance for Anthony Perrin to move up. Right now, though, we're going to Alex Kennedy, AK, kid from Croydon.
Yeah, I would certainly say that Alex Kennedy is more of a video type of rider as opposed to being a contest rider, but he can still hang, as we can see. We see him in the finals here. Check him out. Toboggan to Smith down that ledge. He loves doing that. Going over tooth. Oh. And you know, when I talk about the video parts, a lot of these guys really focus more on the video part side of things, more so than the contest, because there's not as many contests that go around for street riders, so they really have to focus on getting those good videos out for the people to see, and Alex Kennedy has certainly released so many great videos for all of us to enjoy.
I love that transfer up.
Yeah, and it's really fun to see a guy like Alex riding ramps. I mean, we're so used to seeing him ride street, but it's really cool to know that he can still do all those ramp tricks as well. Oh. He was going downside Smith across that quarter pipe, and he actually pulled it in our best trick competition. So I've seen him do it, but I mean, it's such a gamble and it's such a big drop, but we know that he's capable of doing it, just maybe not in this contest run.
Okay, guy from Croydon who loves to ride Clapham is going to have to put this run down to experience as well. Currently in 7th.
And the thing about Alex Kennedy is he always looks unique. His bike always looks unique. He always looks a little bit different than the rest of the field, and he always brings something a little bit different to the table. But unfortunate for Alex, had that little slip up there, and he's going to settle for that first run score, which was a 76, keeping him in 7th place.
Yeah, it's an interesting frame combination, isn't it? I'd call that magenta and gold with the rims.
Oh yeah, and that's one of his more mellow setups that I've seen him ride. They're usually a little bit more loud.
Okay, Justin Spreed, ready to go. And that, you've got to say, I mean, the rims on this bike, that's one of my favorite colors, that kind of mint or jade. But right now, the moustache is outshining the rims, for sure.
Well, we saw his first run score. He's still in 3rd place right now, so he could have a little bit of fun with this run and maybe try some things that he's really wanted to try all weekend. It's going to be interesting to see how he approaches this run, but look how stoic he is. He never looks like he's under pressure, never looks like he's trying too hard. There's that crooked to 180 bar out.
Tire slide.
Wow, 180 crooked grind, 180 bar spin out. I mean, he's so clean and consistent with those crooked grinds, especially going backwards and forwards, and he's got such a good bar spin that he rarely ever misses those bars once he throws them. Put out a part in his in the Fit video a few years ago where he's riding a lot of trails, which is, you know, it's such a contrast from riding street, but just so everyone knows, he can ride a little bit of everything. He's a really talented bike rider. He could probably hang in our park competition as well.
Oh! I went down pretty hard there.
Unfortunate for Justin. He had such a good run going, but he was going for that bar spin to opposite ice pick. You see him being helped off the course by our paramedics. He's on his feet, he's walking, he was probably just really tired. You know, missed that ice pick just a little bit, trying to grab onto the handlebars. And but it was at the end of his run. I'll be interested to see how much that actually counts against him. There's that crooked grind up, 180 bars out. So clean and consistent with that trick at all times. And there's a version on the flat rail as well. And I think it's funny how he always looks so stoic. It never looks like he's under any kind of pressure, under any kind of stress. Just goes out there and does his thing. There's that 180 opposite feeble, pulling it back over, backwards, forwards. He had a little bit of everything in that run.
Okay, so the medics, thankfully, very, very quick to their feet. No one sitting around eating cream buns there. And Justin Spreet looking all right. He doesn't even look like he's hobbling at the moment, so... Oh, little grimace there. So currently in 3rd place, and he will not better his score. 66.8 for Justin's 2nd run. So next rider in from France, Anthony Perrin. Very calm, very technical, and very French. That means suave and sophisticated, Chris.
Absolutely. That is not a diss by any means. I always enjoy having a conversation with Anthony. He's a really easygoing guy, very easy to chat with, very humble too. Showing you that 180 bar spin up. Great start already for Anthony Perrin. He's the guy that can really be a threat for that top 3 if he can just keep it together.
Well, you mentioned earlier that he gets real competition nerves, and it's difficult to believe when you see someone with this riding ability that they're going to get nervous, but it is a factor for him.
Well, we just saw that huge 360 over the sub box into the wedge. Big ice pick up the rail, 180 out. Halfway through his run, he's got a great run going, showing the tooth hanger to 180 out on the flat rail. I mean, so far this is so much better than his first run. He hasn't messed up a single bit yet. Just has to keep it together, keep the hard tricks flowing. Little nose wheelie on that round rail. And I don't know if he's just going to settle for some easier tricks at this point or what, because he knows that he has such a good run going.
He was definitely trying to link those 2 rails.
And that is a time. Let me hear one more time.
Trying to end with the bar spin, ice pick, the 180. But that was after the buzzer had already gone off, so I wonder if that's going to count against him. I don't think it is, but you see the smile on his face. He knows that he put in a full pull. That was a really good run for Anthony Perrin.
Very, very strong. One slight dip. There was a point there, I think, at around 45, 50 seconds when he pulled out a couple of pot boilers in a row, what by his standards would be relatively basic tricks.
Right.
But like you said, he got through the whole run really, really clean. He's currently sat in 11th, so he's moving up no matter what.
Yeah, I would definitely say that's an improvement upon his first run score.
If he wants top 3, he's got to go to 82.4. If he wants the top spot, he's got to be 88.2. Don't think we're heading quite that high, but top 3 maybe? No, 77.3, so good enough for 7th, and that gives you an idea just how tightly packed everyone is in those middle spots. Between 80 and 74, so 6 points, that is what separates 4th and 10th. Next in, Bruno Hoffman, 2nd place here in Simple Session 2018.
Well, man, like I said before about Bruno, he loves to land fake. He's very consistent with landing backwards and keeping his run going. Showing you the opposite ice pick down the ledge. Take him out here, over toothpick. Really good friends with Dan Lacey, who I know is watching right now. Those guys have put out so many heavy edits together, and they're always traveling together. You always hear them in the background of each other's clips. Trying to go for that predator grind, just messes it up a little bit. He's off his rhythm a little bit right now. Let's see if he can make up for it. He hasn't touched the ground with his feet yet, so maybe he can make up for that. There's that crooked grind to 180. That's an opposite 180 out of that. And for as easy as he makes it look, the judges know that that's an opposite 180 for him. The judges are very in tune with what's going on.
Linking those two, rail and box.
There's that opposite ice. Looks like he wanted a little something out of it. And that's going to be time for Bruno Hoffman. I don't think that was a better run than his first run, but still, I mean, always awesome to see Bruno out here. And again, I mean, he's still so young, but he seems like he's been around for such a long time, just because when you get started at 14, 15 years old, and you start making a name for yourself, even at the age of 23, 24, 25, it already seems like you're the elder statesman of the crew.
Well, he's been around for a decade. He's 25 and he's been around for a decade. That's the reality.
Right, right. And he'll probably be around for another decade.
Most definitely.
Yeah, you could tell he wanted a little bit more out of that opposite ice pick, but you know, always great to see Bruno out here. Always loves coming to Simple Session, loves the nightlife, always has a good time.
So, 4th place at the moment. No shortage of great riders waiting just below him, though, to see if they can unseat him. 76.4 for that second run. Not enough to better that 80.2. So now we move back down to the course where Brock Rayford is waiting for us.
Brock Rayford is trying to get some people out of the way because he's got some big plans for this run. He is really excited to be here. He's, like I told you before, he's rehabbing that knee. He's been trying to get it strong again. He recently put out a really heavy video part in the Ride Headlights video. So even though he's been out with knee surgery, he still has content that's been coming out all over the web and in a full-length video part as well.
Okay, gently cranking up the quarter to get speed.
180 bars into the Euro, pulls it right back around. There's that tooth over tooth again. That's like a Brock original right there. He's the only guy doing that. Check him out. Bar spin over the sub. I love it. This is the run that he wanted in that first run. He's on course and he's making things happen. No bobbles yet. There's that double peg up, hardway 360 out. Like I said, that's the best hardway 360 you're going to see in this entire contest. Ooh, coming in double tire on the spine, bar spin in, using the park course in a street way. This is a great run so far for Brock Rayford. There's that strength pulling up onto that rail from flat. He's got about 5 seconds left here. He's got to get this last trick in if he wants it to count. There's the double peg. Pulling over hardway, 360 over the rail. That's a full pull for Brock Rayford right there. And there's that 360 nose bonk over our dig volcano. And that's how you do a street run. That's the run that Brock wanted.
It looked as if he'd almost unplugged his stress once he'd landed that final trick. He went straight into the volcano, completely relaxed and really enjoyed himself. But big, heavy run from Brock Rayford. Let's go through. Kicked off with this beautiful little combo through the Euro gap.
I love the bar over the sub into the wedge. Showing you the truck driver fly out. And it was like each trick he started building upon more and more. He was getting more and more comfortable. That's certainly the run that he wanted when he got to Estonia.
I love that. It's like having a little bit of Danny McCaskill in the middle of the course, the transfer up, isn't it, onto that spine.
Yeah, and look at the smile, just the relief, like he got the run that he wanted.
Okay, waiting for his score. Brock Rayford currently sat in 6th on a 78.6. Where are you going with this one?
I'm putting him in the top 3 for now, and we'll see what the judges think.
Okay, top 3, he needs 82.4. He's got 82.2. Oh, brutally close. Tully's down there with him now.
Oh, congratulations, such a powerful run. I mean, we were talking before, you told me you're going to turn up the intensity a little bit, and you definitely did. Can you tell me how you feel about your after run?
I feel great about my runs. I came here and got done what I needed to do. Like, I came off an injury, so I'm just out here trying to do my best for myself and for my family, and what better way than to pull 2 solid runs.
Well, you did great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, Brock Rayford, philosophical about that, but could have gone a little bit higher maybe. Next in, we've got Mark Burnett. It's his 3rd time here at Simple Session. Stop screaming at the TV, Mark's mum. He can't hear you. That's from Dig BMX. Hashtag Simple Session. If anyone else has got anything to add to the conversation, please chuck it up on social media. We will find it. Thank you, Dig BMX.
Well, I got to give a shout out to Sue Burnett, who's been very supportive of Mark and his career. Oh, look, they're pulling hard way into that Smith. Oh, he's flowing now. I like what we're seeing here, Ed. There's that nose to bar. Only one doing that line. Feeble, hard way, 360 out. This is the run that Mark wanted.
Oh, sat into that little stall.
Yeah, and I gotta say, doing a bar spin the tail tap doesn't look like it's super hard, but he's using all balance on that. He can't use any crank arm pressure because he's running a free coaster, and he can't use any brakes because, well, like everyone else in the street competition, he's brakeless.
So, Mark Burnett, one of those riders that we've seen grow year on year here at Simple Session, and this is no exception.
Taking a page out of Brock Rayford's book with that line right there, gapping up onto the spine, bar spin out. Oh, here we go again. Went over double peg this time. I can't tell if he stepped off it or not, but I don't think the judges can tell either.
Yeah. If we haven't seen it, they haven't seen it. So sell it when you come around the other side, Mark. Just be like, yes! Claim it all. Courage Adams taking a roll around the course. He's going to go and get ready for his run, but Mark Burnett is going to sit tight and wait for the scores. That was a very, very impressive run.
That was a great run from Mark Burnett. That's the run that he wanted. Showing you the technique, getting on top of that flat rail right there, that flat ledge, pulling off hard way, 360, bonking the back tire. He's the only one we see doing that, bonking that back tire, 360 over the ledge.
It was like watching a different rider in the way he approached the course, wasn't it? It was relaxed and slow. Whatever he did in between those 2 runs worked.
Yeah, absolutely. Saying hi to mom at home. Like I said, Sue's always been so supportive of Mark in his career, and she's always very fun to talk to at all the events. So,
at this stage, I think Sue's getting more shout-outs than Mark. Okay, nervous wait for all the Burnetts. The ones here and the ones back in upstate New York. I think it's Slingerland, isn't it? Hometown?
When I first met Mark, it was in Albany, New York, and I just assumed that that's where he was from, but I don't know the exact name of his hometown, but yeah, he's definitely an upstate New York guy.
Okay, 81 for Mark Burnett on. That log jam just below the podium spots is getting tighter and tighter. Bruno Hoffman on 80.2, Burnett on 81, Brock Rayford on 82.2, Justin Spreet on 82.4. Next in, we're with Courage Adams. Let's take a look at what he's capable of when it comes to nose manuals.
Well, yeah, look at the balance, look at the control. He's the only guy you would see doing something like this in our final anyways. I mean, check him out. He's using his crank arm pressure to go backwards. A lot of guys have the free coaster now, and he's using all crank arm pressure. Oh my gosh. Bar spin, into a nose jam with no brakes, all balance, all strength, all power. And then we saw him do that in his run. Bar spin to manual to 360.
Okay, Courage Adams ready for a very precious minute of his life now.
Courage is really the last guy that can crack into that top 3 right now.
Yeah, currently in 7th.
And look what we have going here. This started with a bar spin to tail tap, and he's been on the back wheel ever since. Check him out. He's about to go backwards, down the slope. Oh!
And it's like he resets it from there. That entire combo is gone now.
Yeah, is he going to go back to the start and try it again?
Go on.
Because at this point, you're just doing it for the fans here. The judges have to judge him accordingly, but check him out.
But it's pretty crazy when you're doing like a 30-second trick. You're rolling the dice, half of your run on one trick. Yeah. If it goes wrong, like you say, there's no rebate. There's no coming back from that.
Not in a contest format when you have to be so consistent. You can't have any kind of bobbles. And unfortunate for him, he had to come off the back, but he's still going for it for the crowd here in Tallinn, Estonia at the Saku Arena. Just showing you all that balance.
Oh, unbelievable.
Check him out. The longer he goes, the louder the crowd gets. It's looking good, Ed. And there we have it.
And that's the thing. Even the judges are applauding up there.
Yeah. And that's the loudest we've heard the crowd get all day.
And for good reason. That was absolutely phenomenal.
Right. Well,
we did actually time that last one. It's a 20-second trick. So you could get 3 tricks in if it really worked.
So we know that he's not going to have the best score because of that, but hey, sometimes you don't worry about your score anymore. You do it for the crowd. You do it for the people at home that are watching that want to see what Courage Adams is capable of.
Okay, so that only leaves 2 riders. Right now we've got Felix Prangenberg, who's currently occupying the top spot, will not get the luxury of a victory lap because the man who's going to drop after him is currently in 2nd, Matt Ray. They're separated by 5 points, so Felix has got a good buffer. Interesting to see what score Courage Adams can get for just one run. 48.8 for one trick. So if he'd have done 3 tricks.
Okay, for a little quiz at home, how many face piercings does Felix Prangenberg have?
Are we counting ears on face?
I believe so.
I don't know, your ears aren't on your face, they're on your head, aren't they?
The correct answer, Ed, is 4.
Okay.
But that's not what is important right now. He is our current leader, starting off the 180 tail up into the wedge.
Punchy.
Oh, I love this right here. Double peg, 450 into the wedge.
And you said he's making that look pretty easy, but the pull he needs on that to make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. He makes it look so easy. Oh my gosh, that's an opposite double peg up and opposite hard way 360 out. Wow, really impressive. Oh my gosh, 540 over the A-frame rail. And he runs into a photographer there. I wonder if the judges are going to take mercy on him for that. I mean, because that really wasn't his fault. And he almost takes out one of our cameramen as well. Just doing damage to the media right now.
I don't know, I reckon he's got an eye for an angle. He knows what looks good.
Yeah.
Oh! Okay. He's got the luxury of being able to call that. He doesn't need to push at this stage. He is 4.6 points ahead of Matt Ray at the moment, which means he can sit tight. It's going to be a nervous wait, though, with someone as talented as Matt Ray ready to drop now.
And it's going to be interesting to see how Matt Ray changes things up. Is he going to do the same run? Because he knows that he can do no worse than 2nd place.
Is that 450 off?
Yeah, I love it right there. Double peg to 450. He's the only guy really using that like a bank to sub. That's all opposite right there. That's opposite pegs up, opposite hard way, 360 out. That's a tongue twister right there for sure.
Okay, so Felix Prangenberg, kid from Rolfbach, 70K out of Cologne, 80.9. And that 80.9 would have been good enough for 6th place had that been it, but he will take his first run score of 88.2, and that is the number that this man now has to beat. Last person to drop in BMX Street finals, Matt Ray. Been out for 2 years, back now in a final and battling out. He's guaranteed a podium spot, he's guaranteed second place, but can he up that now? We saw an 83.8 from him first run score.
Well, he's certainly capable. It looks like he's starting off his run in the same way that he has been all weekend, showing you the 270 bar spin. And I think if he adds a few more street elements to this run, it's really going to help him out. He could really be a threat to that top spot. As you can see right now, he's been sticking to more of the park aspects of the course. But again, I mean, he's so consistent. And again, see, he's back on the park course. Whereas we saw Felix Prangenberg in Felix's first run, he was like all rails, all ledges, all wedges. Oh! All right, well, he had to step off. We know how much that can hurt the rider now. 180 on, 180 bar out.
We're going to need a best trick here to salvage this run, something truly breathtaking. It's no longer about consistency. If you really want this, Matt, then you've got to throw down now.
Yeah, he's sticking to the same run. He's sticking to what he knows. Sometimes it's hard to switch it up. I mean, he's been doing this all weekend. So, oh,
that was mint.
Well, more of a park trick there as well. 360 bar spin to turn down, coming in fakie. And, you know, I don't think that's going to be enough to unseat Felix.
No, we've seen it throughout the contest, any kind of bail, it has to be clean. That is exactly what we saw from Felix Prangenberg on his first run. Truly, truly breathtaking. Matt Ray giving it his best shot on his second and final run. It's interesting looking at how exhausted these guys are now. And we talked about earlier on that third run that used to be in there, and you can't imagine it now. The intensity of these runs.
Right, 1 minute long runs. It doesn't sound like much, but trust me, that's exhausting. But again, I mean, gosh, so impressive. You know, I bet Matt could really hang in a park contest as well, because you see how well he can ride ramps. And you know, he's from the Northeast United States, so he's riding a lot of indoor ramps all winter long. So he might not have the luxury of riding so many street setups, but still, I mean, second place is still very impressive for Matt Ray.
Okay, he's on selfie duties now. Second place from the man from the Northeast. Doesn't look too frustrated by it. Let's take a look at the overall standings, though. Felix Prangenberg, the German, up there, 88.2, taking his first ever simple session street final win. He's the only person, apart from Garrett Reynolds, to have one of those. Matt Ray in second, Justin Spreet in third. Mark Burnett down there in fifth. That's a very respectable position too, and Mark continues his ascent up the rankings year on year. Courage Adams, bit of a surprise potentially, down in seventh. And then Alex Kennedy, would have liked to have seen him a bit further up. It just never lined up for him. Same for Lewis Mills. We're going to be back right after this break. We're going to pull these street finals apart, and we're going to look at how BMX Park is lining up. We'll see you there.